We're live, everybody. Welcome here. I'm gonna wait for some people to join before we truly get started. Of course, my name is Rock Castaldo. This is the Space Water Podcast, exclusively on YouTube and also on my Patreon. This is ever since the downfall of Truth Frequency Radio. I took my audio radio show and made it into an even super enhanced version of a video podcast where I can put pictures up and all sorts of things that go along with my groundbreaking, world-renowned work and research that I offer for you all right here. You can literally subscribe for free on YouTube, but if you want to support my work and join and contribute to my research and work, go to patreon.com/the mystical spiral. You can literally join for as low as $2 a month, which is you get price you get priceless information on my Patreon. So I can't I am not saying that lightly, everybody, at all. It's it's yeah, I am not saying that lightly. It's definitely I have almost 3,000 posts up on Patreon and exclusive articles, videos, topics I can't even talk about here on YouTube. Um, all sorts of stuff on YouTube. And, there's a keyword search on there. So all you got to do is put in the topic, and all sorts of information will pop up from the last few years on there. I've been on there since, over 5 years already. It's before 2020 I went on there. So you guys got a catalog of groundbreaking work on my Patreon that you guys can go to. And today we're going to go deep inside, decoding some of the most intriguing and mysterious ancient writings and artifacts that have been found over the last few thousand years. Some of the ones that maybe people haven't even heard about before. And when you actually hear the way I'm describing it and what I've decoded, you guys are gonna, it's really mind blowing, because a lot of the things that people thought was like primitive cults, primitive death cults, where they're talking about the transmigration of souls in a very primitive way, is actually very advanced, and we're only just starting to dip our toes in the knowledge of what some of the ancient people had. And not only did they have advanced sciences, but it was also they knew the the effect on the spiritual domain of humanity that these cosmic rays and stars and suns all have. This is we're it's a huge big universe of plasma. It's a plasma universe. And the ancients knew this, right? And they poetically and metaphorically describe some of the most incredible advanced knowledge that we're just starting to rediscover today. So we're definitely gonna bring some of the most amazing things that you guys have not probably heard before. And I'm gonna wait for a couple of more people probably to join. What do we got here? We got three people. I didn't know it said zero at first. I just had to reload it. At least we got three people in there. Yeah. What's up? Astral Hijack. What's going on? I know that name. Astral Hijack. Let me see if I can boom. Boom 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 chicka boom bang. Boom chicka boom boom chicka boom. All right. So this is, of course, the Space Water Podcast. My name is Rock Castaldo, and you could find me by going to the mysticalspiralstore.com. Of course, our Space Water Podcast is sponsored by the mysticalspiralstore.com. And I will pull the website up real quick while we wait for some more people to join. I know it's early in the morning here, so we might not get that many people in. but this is still going to be a very groundbreaking show. I hope people are getting the message that it's out there. Yeah, we got some people. All right. Good morning, the doctor. The doctor. All right. So let me set this up. Oh wait. No, I actually just got contacted by a longtime listener, Sean. I haven't heard from him in a long time. From who's this? The doctor in from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Are you a groundhog? You're not a groundhog, are you? The doctor. Are you furry and about 2 feet? Hmm. Or could you be the doctor? Are you a veterinarian? Boom chicka chick, boom chicka chick. Ah. Oh, are you a veterinarian? No? Well, either way, whether you're a fuzzy beaver or a groundhog or a doctor, welcome. Are you really from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, this is the Space Water Podcast, episode 63. We're going to be getting into one of the most incredible things that we could talk about, and that's the possibility of ancient writings actually giving us specific coordinates of where our light bodies will should travel to in the afterlife. And then the opposing question to that is, were we supposed to have access to this knowledge? Is this a region that we should not go to in the afterlife? Is it a region that was not meant for humans? Now, it seems to be a region that was only given to exclusive initiates in certain solar cults and cults that had to do with also the transmigration of the souls, like the cult of Orpheus, right? So these are really, really incredible writings that I've been working on for many, many years. And when you guys see the translations that I do, you guys, I think people take it lightly because I kind of young and talk young, but I'm not far from 50 years old. I'll be 47 in a couple of days, God willing, on July 12th. And I've been working on some of these writings for over 30 years. So this didn't just happen overnight for me, right? I have been literally going to war for this knowledge, and my wife can attest. I have books all around me at all the times because I'm digging to find some of the things that I've seen, that I've been shown, that I've been spiritually guided to find. And when I say that I've been translating symbols and ancient writings that scholars have been debating over and speculating about for hundreds, if not over 1,000 or more years, I'm serious when I say that. Symbols like the Ankh, ancient writings that go from the Book of the Dead to even Sanskrit, um, from Greek to Native Americans and all, I mean Aboriginals, European. I mean, there's just so much that I've gone through over the years, and today we're going to show you the true deep science knowledge that they had, and the spiritual significance, how they were fused together, an adept and a spiritual initiate of the past. They had sacred sciences, divine knowledge about nature and the universe, fused with spirituality, right? There was no one without the other, right? Nice, the doctor. So the doctor, you're going to be impressed when you see the advanced high level translations that I have for you because a lot of these writings people thought were just, primitive death worship or primitive ritualistic incantations, but they were far from that. These were mantras to guide the soul, the very vibration of the light body, into the plasma waters, where they can transform and attract particles from different things like supernova explosions, so they can transform into something new, something more, right? So we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about also first an interesting artifact that I just happened to talk a little bit about with Gary Wayne. You guys can go in deeper on my Patreon, patreon.com/the Mystical Spiral. And once again, we're sponsored by the Mystical Spiral Store.com. My beautiful wife posted it in the chat room here on YouTube. You can also support my research and my work by joining my Patreon and also donating here in the super chat. But on my Patreon, you can contribute to the research. You can contribute to the research here in the super chat as well and in the chat room here by typing in the chat room different things. But you can have more hands-on direct contact with myself and various like-minded people on my Patreon and at my website, the Mystical Spiral Store, and patreon.com/the Mystical Spiral. So today we're going to first get into the golden plate of Petalia, right? Oh my God. Now, this is a very interesting artifact that was discovered. And not only is it an interesting artifact, but there's similar ones that were like that and various places throughout the world. Other artifacts have been found. Other sacred writings have been found that had very similar information. And that's called direct evidence. Now, let me show you first what the golden plate of Petalia looks like. Share screen for you guys. All right, so you guys can you see my screen yet? Yeah, all right. Let me get this going. All right, so first here's my website. This is the mysticalspiralstore.com. This is what my Space Water podcast is of course sponsored by. And we got a coupon code for you guys available. Anybody listening today, type in summer 15 and any order over I think like $29 or something like that, or 25 or $29, you get 15% off. And some of them I already have discounted. I have like some 50% off discounts on some of these as well. Some anywhere from 5 to 50% off a lot of these. See, look, some of these are already discounted. Look, this one's discounted down to, you know, look at this one. There's discounts plus an extra 15% off. A lot of them have huge discounts on there. Uh, this one, look at this one, $20 off right here, and then you can add another 15% off. So there's a lot of huge. And guys, I got everything. Specimens. You could get readings on this website, specimens, and also go into the menu because my old website, themysticalspiral.com, my beautiful wife and my lovely daughter had transferred all that information now to this website. So the mysticalspiral.com and the mysticalspiralstore.com is both the same website now. I own both domains, but I'm merging both websites into just this website. So if you go here, we have all the information from my other website also on here, all this free information, and check it out. We have incredible knowledge here on here, all sorts of stuff up here, megalithic sites, all the stuff that I've been researching over a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about and researching over the year, all sorts of cool information. I will be updating it soon. I've been putting more stuff up there and updating it, so there's a lot of stuff up there you guys can find. There's a whole bunch of different topics. Look at, you got the Vedic solar dynasties, megalithic secrets. You got about call bearers and being born in the call. A lot of different knowledge about my ancestry and Italian mysticism here. Um, you got my quasar network has a lot of different information here too as well. You guys can find some cool stuff here. This will be updated soon as well. And look at, I even have the colleagues. You guys can see my colleagues here. These are the people that I only, if you guys have noticed, I only interview a very small amount of people. I don't have many people as guests on my show, and that's for a reason because I really don't listen to many of the people out there because I feel a lot of the information is off. And I feel to have a podcast, it shouldn't be just because you do research and you're able to get a microphone and anybody can do a podcast nowadays, right? I think the seat should be earned. And I did over like 25 years of research before I picked up the microphone. And that went along with life experiences. And you have to have life experiences and live your life out there to actually activate and receive the knowledge appropriately. Just being in a book doesn't work. You have to have also the other part of things, right? So the reason why I research books and ancient writings is because I've been guided through life experience to do that, right? So I have a few colleagues that I respect their work and I have on for various reasons. Laurie Bruno, Maria Wheatley, Glenn Kreisberg, Professor Chandra Wick Robinson, Gary Wayne, the Sun Yogi, Swamiji Uma Sankar, and Robert Phoenix. Those are my few colleagues and pretty much the only people I interview, right? So you guys can find all that at the mysticalspiralstore.com. Now let's get back to today's topic. You guys are really gonna poop your pants when you see how incredible this is, right? Shout out to everybody in the chat room watching and the doctor. You're gonna appreciate this. If you've been doing 66, if you're 66 years old and been doing almost 50 years of research, you're gonna love this. Now, of course, this is housed in one of the most famous museums in the world, the British Museum. And what you see here on the screen is called the Golden Plate of Petalea. And little is known about the specific details of the find. I'm pretty sure at one time the scroll was put in with the the body in for the afterlife, right? And it was found in the 1830s in a place that's in southern Italy that was known as Petalea at the time. And there's two places in southern Italy in ancient times, and these were Greek colonies, by the way, in southern Italy at the time, and they were both related to Greek colonies. These these areas and the so-called cults that they were associated with, the cults of Orpheus, right? Which basically was mostly based out of Thracian, ancient Bulgaria, but I mean all over Europe they probably traveled and throughout, who knows, throughout the world. I think they also were one of the most diverse groups. So certain ones that ended up as Minoans and other people and all these different tribes that traveled were definitely related in some way to the Thracians as well. Now, there were two places in southern Italy in the ancient times that were Greek colonies that were related to the name Petalea, right? Now, we're gonna also go how this is goes also back to Vedic and Sanskrit. right? These names and this information, because Petalia, in my opinion, is derived right from the word patala. It's the same context, it's the same sound, it's just a sound shift because you got different languages and so on, right? But it's a sound shift, right? And Petalia is the other world, right? Now, so is Patala. It's the netherworld of the Naga. It's an afterlife region, sort of, or an otherworldly dimension outside of Earth, right? So same with Petalia. So it's being used in the same context. Now, these two places in southern Italy in ancient times, now, like I mentioned, they're Greek colonies, but they were in two separate areas. One was called is called Monte Stelle, Star Mountain, literally, and the other one is now Monte Stelle. Let me also point out nowadays that area is controlled by the military. That whole area. Right now, the other area related to Pettalia is the commune of Strongole. It's in modern day Calabria, right? It's now called Strongole, and it's that was the other, and that was where the other one, where this one is actually found. Pettalia was found on Strongole, what they call now Strongole, the commune of Strongole, which is a high place, right? It's a flat. It's a flat. I'll show you what it looks like. Sure, I could find it. It's a it's a place, a platform to go into the afterlife, basically. If you look at the area, um, yeah, this is Strongole. Look at this. The commune of Strongole. You guys see this area? Look at that. This is where this spot was found, and they were burying their dead on that hilltop so they can travel into the magnetosphere through the sky. The light body will travel through the sky into a certain region around Earth, inside the plasma waters. And we're going to get into this specifically what region, right? So that's what Strongoli looks like. We'll get back to that in a minute. So people, if I need to go back to it, but this is the golden plate of Petalea. Now, what you see right here is like a foil of gold, pure gold, right? And it's like a sheet. And on that sheet, you have specific instructions for where the light body, the soul, will travel into the afterlife and into the afterlife and what they're specifically looking for as well. Incredible, right? And we're going to get it more into it in a minute, but both spots where these ancient cities are called is Petalia. I need to also point this out again. This was a so-called Greek name and Greek colony, what many scholars say where these colonies, were, but none of them seem to ever give the true definition to the origins of the word of these, like Petalia. So I need to first go back and explain this for you guys, and you guys can get this deep knowledge on my Patreon because it may be shocking to you guys to realize that Greek colonies might have their origins in Vedic Sanskrit, but these are where these Asura Deva tribes originate from, that for sure passed down to Greek and all of these other tribes all over. Orpheus is directly derived from Asura and Deva tribes, right? For sure. And you can get all sorts of Orpheus verses of Orpheus. Um, One book, you guys, it's a good book it's called the Orphic Hymns. Has a lot of the hymns of Orpheus. Now it's very similar to Vedic or and even Egyptian hymns to Osiris, right? They're guiding with poetic verses and mantras. They're guiding the light body to specific areas and giving specific instructions or specific stories uh, to discuss, the journey, and there's it's just incredible. Someone's giving instructions. Uh, I mean, it's just incredible when we get into it. So you guys can find all the book recommendations on my Patreon as well. Now, this word Petalia is, in my opinion, is a sound shift directly derived from Sanskrit and Vedic and even like which in the later eras transformed into different religions like Hinduism, some parts of Buddhism, Jainism, right? Well, that one of the most important names in Jainism, Hinduism, Buddhism is the word Patala, right? One of the most important, it's the underworld city of the Naga that's described as shining gold and those are all metaphors for the sun and how the sun brings these cosmic waters world around Earth, right? Called the magnetosphere, right? And that region is an other world, an underworld, a netherworld, a gateway, a cosmic whirling vortex of plasma and species of plasma and dynamic regions of plasma that do and different specific things that transpire in these different regions of plasma. And we have different species of light of plasma that exist. And these different regions have plasma tunnels that and solar wind gateways that go to other stars and suns within the universe and within our, outside of our solar system and so on. And this is all proved by science. And I'm not saying anything strange. Now we're going to talk about the specific instructions where they're telling in many of these writings to go, and many of them tell you directly, go towards the North Pole. Now we're talking about the light body here, people. We're not talking about walking to the North Pole in your physical body as you see us now. We're talking about the moment of death when you transform back into a magnetic duplicate, a light body, right? And that's for, in my opinion, we have about a 4 to 6 week time period where your light body can travel like that. And then after that, I don't know exactly what might transpire, but I know we have a 4 to 6 week period, it seems, where we're able to guide and and travel through certain ways, right? We transform into back into plasma. We're superheated like light. We this is what our soul is, right? So for a short period of time, it's like you're a magnetic duplicate light body in the afterlife. That's how I view it, right? Now, this is what Patala is, right? This is the world of the Naga, and the Naga to me is the solar emissions. They come from the cosmic waters. They're information that's traveling right from the star, right from the sun, right? And there's good and bad in Naga. There's Naga that even exist within our magnetosphere, giant ones that stretch out and envelope around Earth and stretch out on the night side, like Vitra, right? That's discussed in Sanskrit and Vedic, right? And Hindu. We're going to get into this right now. The golden plate of Petalia is a small gold little tablet that you see here on the screen that was discovered inside this gold case that you see here, right here. Now, this chain was added, I think, a few hundred years later. It's Roman era, but the the gold sheet with the instructions on it and the uh, the gold the gold case is the original, right? That was put most likely in with the body in the afterlife. And it was obviously even probably worn by its owner at one time with the chain, right? And it's dated from around, I think, 300 to 200 BC. And the gold chain and the case, I think there's about 400 years after the original gold tablet or scroll was made. The chain and case may be made by the Roman times, I think it was. But inside an ancient Greek inscription on the gold tablet is what we're going to get into. Not just an inscription, like I said. This is an Orphic saying, right? When they say an Orphic saying, this is the ancient one Orpheus, right? Now, Orpheus can be also like a generic name, it could be like an Osiris, right? It could be like when you transform to the next Osirian, the next Sun King, right? The next Solar King. You could become the next Orpheus, right? The next initiate in the afterlife, right? And that's what we're going with today. That's because there might have been an original Orpheus, and in my opinion, very similar to the Matrix with Morpheus, right? But it also was used as like a generic for a spiritual adept or initiate or high priest or solar king, right? And the ancient Orpheus that they're talking about was the original poet Orpheus that started his own society of initiation that had to do with a positive afterlife. It had to do with a transmigration and progression, a harmonic progression through your light body of your soul. And they're giving specific instructions within the stars, right? Within the gateway of plasmas, right? And this is a map. This is a guide travel to the afterlife on the gateway of the sun, the solar wind, right? And the solar wind is what stretches out our magnetosphere and forms the shape of it, right? And there's dynamic regions in the magnetosphere, and we'll pull that up in a minute as well. And we're going to get into the specific regions in the magnetosphere, like the magnetopause, where they're guiding the soul. And we're going to get into also the translation of the tablet. Now, of course, I have books. This book that I've been working with and reading about this stuff since the 1970s with the golden plate of Petalea in here. Not many people have been even know about uh, these these uh these artifacts, right? So instead of reading it, I mean, I can read it from my book, but I'll pull it up right here on the internet so you guys can see the the inscription while I'm reading it and translating it. All right, because I actually, in my opinion, have decoded the main part of this, and it's mind blowing. I mean, if this should go viral when and most of my like I actually decoded the Ankh. How many people have been debating over the years what the Ankh truly means? It's the coronal mass ejection loop coming from the sun, the plasma loop. I've decoded that and many other writings. And I think that's one of the most groundbreaking things to come out of any research that we have out there in modern times. Where else are people actually really decoding symbols like that? And it was shown to me. You want to say by the universe, by God, but I had a revelation about that and it started to unlock a lot of knowledge. And it was directly after I also had various encounters with plasma fireballs in the sky that I got video of. Jeff Mara even showed it on his podcast that he had me on of those plasma UFO type encounters that I've had. So we're gonna get into reading right here. The actually let me use I'll read from the book, but we'll pull it up on the screen for you guys. Hold on. Um, I hate to use Wikipedia, but Wikipedia does have the right English translation at least. So of course this was originally written in Greek, so this is the Greek translation, the Greek inscription here. I'll go to the English inscription. This is incredible. Just incredible, everybody. So let me excuse me. So you all know that our universe consists of 99.999% of the matter of the universe is plasma. It can be considered like cosmic waters, the way it streams from all suns and stars, and the way it interconnects galaxies and nebulas, and it's the Akashic records. It's all the particles of life that's traveling from stars and suns and supernova explosions and gamma ray bursts and everything that's traveling around the cosmos. It's traveling, and they're all different species of light. And we're just a more denser species of light, right? All the particles of and, and molecules of a star makes what we are, a human, right? We were literally matter forged in the heart of a star, right? And when a star explodes, it pushes out calciums and proteins and all of the particles of life, and they travel a huge windy system of streams of light until they become life, form, thought, manifests all of these forms, right? And this is talked about in ancient writings. So these cosmic waters, right? This is talked about in almost every afterlife mythology and sacred writings of cultures. It's just incredible, right? So when you see a lot of times these people are primitively translating the waters. And unfortunately, a lot of the translations, even in the Bible, they're giving earthly names to a lot of these rivers when in reality, they're cosmic rivers and they're cosmic coordinates, and they're being mistranslated and changed in the Bible to earthly coordinates and earthly towns and earthly rivers when a lot of them have nothing to do with that. And I'll give some references right in the book of Genesis in a minute to show you where they're talking about basically and coming streams coming from Eden, Edenic streams, if you will, right? These Edenic streams of fire. I mean, they're you can look at these. You can look at what comes from the sun: streams of light, streams of water, or streams of fire, or streams of wind. And this is all the elements you see in the gods of the sun. You see the solar wind gods. They're storm gods and now they should be correctly translated now as solar storm gods because that's what they are. When you see Baal, he was originally a storm god. He transformed into a sun god, but he's really a solar storm god, right? He has power. When you see powers over the four winds, they're really talking about solar winds and stellar winds, right? Some of the most important things in the universe that transports life. Now, they're telling specific instructions here on the golden plate of Petalia. They're telling the initiate that just died. Now, this is instructions to the afterlife. The first instruction, you will find a spring on your left in Hades halls. Now remember, I have this all in my book that I'm writing. When you will leave Earth as a light body, you're gonna go towards the North Pole, right? And they give specific instructions to even in the Pharaoh Unas and the pyramid texts. We'll get to in other writings where they actually tell them go to the north circumpolar stars. But right here, they're telling them it's a very similar description here, but they don't give the specific North Pole here. But they're telling them to go up towards your left, right? Now you remember now if you're going up out of Earth, when you look down, it's going to be opposite than the left on, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're looking up. So everything's opposite now. So they're literally saying now they're telling him to go towards the night side, right? When you leave Earth and you go into the magnetosphere, now this is a whirling region of plasma, all different regions of plasma, right? And they get most of the plasma from our magnetosphere, from our solar wind, from the sun, right? And what forms the magnetosphere, of course, is the rotation of Earth. And now if we have this liquid iron core, that iron core of liquid forms these magnetic field lines that come out, right? Those field lines now get stretched into by this roaring force of the solar wind that's coming at those iron magnetic lines. Now, those magnetic lines are described right in the ancient writings, like opening the iron doors of the duat, right? Well, those iron doors, magnetic field lines that come out from the liquid iron core, right? They get stretched out and enveloped around Earth in by the roaring force of the solar wind coming in, right? It stretches out those magnetic field lines. And on the night side, it stretches it out, and you'll see it forms like a dragon's tail or a comet's tail, forms into like a teardrop kind of thing. And then there's islands, like there's regions. It's very dynamic in there. So that's the region they're telling him to go to. They're telling him to go on the left in Hades Halls. Now, the spring on your left in Hades Hall, the rushing spring. Now, a lot of the solar wind gets deflected by this magnetosphere as well, right? But what comes in, it comes in through the magneto tail and the magnetopause, right? It swallows it in that, and it literally is Garuda swallowing the Naga, right? Garuda is the one that's shielding the earth, right? And it's fighting off the Naga, but also eats the Naga at times, right? It swallows in the Naga, and when it swallows in the light, it gets in that chaotic region of the magneto tail. All right. And then it expels some of it out into rings of auroras around the planet and different regions, right? Well, that region, it is a spring on the left in Hades Halls, right? So you will find a spring on your left in Hades Hall, and by it the cypress with its luminous sheen. Now, the luminous sheen is coming from the sun. It's a metaphor, right? And the cypress is the world tree, the tree that comes out of the pole of Earth, that North Pole, and its luminous sheen from the sun, right? And the dynamic in the magnetosphere, you have a mountainous landscape, right? And it literally looks like a sideways tree, a cypress with flowing limbs, right? So we'll pull up the magnetosphere. Hold on, so you guys can see. Wait, actually, I have it. I have it. I don't have to pull up. I hate using the internet. Oh, that's some other stuff I got for you guys. Look at that's the actual duat. This is the magnetic bubble around Earth coming from the sun, receiving the solar wind from the sun, and wrapping around Osiris wrapping around. This is the duat. They have the coronal mass ejection loops in there. They have the magnetal tail described as stretching out on the night side of the star, right? So, uh, incredible right here. But we'll get into that in a minute. Now, I want to get into the magnetosphere real quick. Hold on. Let me go. Yeah, let me just get a picture of them. All right, so here's the magnetosphere. Come on, you dirty rant. Why couldn't you open the image? Oh, why is it not letting me open this image? What the hell? Why is it not letting me open these right now? All right, someone's trying to stop me. We ain't gonna let them stop me. So, okay. Now you see, just from looking at this is not all right. This one's better. You see sideways. Now the sun's over here, all the way over here. It's coming from all the solar winds coming in here. Look at this over here. This is like a sideways tree, right? It's like a cypress with its flowing limbs, right? Now, you see how on the night side, this is the night side here. This all stretches out. The magnetotail stretches out. It forms like a teardrops and it forms this dynamic mountainous landscape. And this whole thing is the cypress, right? And its luminous sheen is the solar wind from the sun coming in, the cypress with its luminous sheen, right? So now, what does it say next here? It says, "Do not go near this spring or drink its water. You will find another cold water flowing from Memory's Lake." Now, this is Memory's Lake. This is knowledge from the Akashic records. The solar wind is literally carrying information from the sun. It's carrying particles of creation, sustenance, evolution, uh, destruction. It's carrying supernova explosion particle, all sorts of memory. It's literally the boat of millions of years. When you see like a nebula, it's a boat of plasma, right? It's literally millions of light years of plasma. And they describe this in ancient Egyptian even. They have like boats of millions of years and things like that. Well, if you look at plasma in the universe, it's measured in millions of light years. That's how they measure it. It is a boat of millions of years. If you see a nebula, it's like 6 million or whatever light years of plasma, right? It's, yeah, the Lady of the Lake. This is all that is metaphors for that. You know, traveling in the cosmic waters. Even you have to pay the Grim Reaper some a coin of iron, right, to cross over the waters. That has to do with the magnetic field lines coming from the iron core and traveling over those plasma waters, right? All of that is related, right? So right here, do not go near that spring or drink its water. It's telling you to find another, the cold water flowing from Memory's Lake. Now, this is one of the most important lines of the whole thing. And I'm going to blow your guys' minds with this. Those that are watching it are really in for mind blowing information right here. Now, this region right here they're talking about is the magnetopause. Let me show you. The boundary that separates the planet's magnetosphere from the surrounding solar wind. It's also a place where there's streams of cold ions, right? There are cold ions. That's the cold water, right? It's incredible. So let me see if I could show you images. The bullet shaped front, right? We'll get into it for a second. Now, let me tell you guys, this cold water, let me go back to this. You guys can verify this any way you want. We'll pull up the verification in a minute. This cold water flowing from Memory's Lake, they're telling you to go to, they don't want you to go to the first area of stream in Hades Hall, right? They're telling you to find the cold water, the cold plasma. Yeah, to ride the plasma waves, exactly, right? They're telling you to find a region of cold plasma, the Memories Lake. I do believe this is the region that I was in during my near-death experience. It took me 30 years to describe it. If you guys go back 10 years in my interview, I thought I was in some tank of crystal, maybe like, I was describing it completely different. Now I think I was within a dynamic region of the actually at the boundary, the whirling boundary from the solar wind, right? Now, this is a place where there is a cold water flowing from Memory's Lake, from the sun, right? There are cold ion streams that are present in the magnetopause, and under certain conditions, they form these streams, right? These streams of and it's related to the dynamics of the magnetosphere and the interaction with the solar wind, right? Now, cold ions, primarily of ionospheric, or if you want to say plasmapheric origin, they're they've been observed on the magnetospheric side of the Earth's magnetopause. These cold ions, they're basically frozen in with the magnetic field lines. Like, there's all sorts of magnetic reconnection going on, right? And when the magnetopause is dynamic and it's moving all rapidly, these cold ions, they can be accelerated, and they show different large velocities, right? Essentially, they're acting as tracers of the magnetopause motion, right? And this is the region where they're telling them to drink from this lake, and that there's guardians that stand before it. And they're saying, say that I'm a child of earth and the starry heaven. They're telling you this is coming, you're coming from earth, but you're also, this is what's coming. You're descended. This is descended from heaven, from the stars. You yourselves know this. I am parched with thirst and dying. Quickly give me the cool water flowing from memory's lake, and they will give you water from the sacred spring, and then you will join the heroes at their rites. This is the memory on the point of death. Write this, the darkness folding you within it. Now, that is incredible. They're talking about the night side, and the darkness is how it folds you into the darkness of the night side of the magnetosphere. That is incredible. What? They're talking about literally drinking your light body, literally drinking from the cold ion stream of the magnetopause as the darkness of the night side folds you inside of the memory lake. What? That is insane. Insane, right? And we can go even further with another very similar finding that we have, that it took me about 15 or 20 years to translate correctly. If you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I would have thought it meant what the book says it meant. Now, this book talks about these circles in this next artifact being none other than the circle of planets and the cycle of rebirth, when it's much more and incredible than that. It's actually talking about a coronal mass ejection ring coming from the sun, and it being a star flung thunderbolt, right? That's the one thing the thunderbolts of the gods, people, they got right. Unfortunately, they make their information into a religion, and it becomes dogmatic for them. Unfortunately, they don't mention what the real thunderbolt of the gods is, the coronal mass ejection loop, and how it's the Ankh of Egypt or the Pasha of Hindu. You got come right here to the Space Water podcast, the Mystical Spiral store, and right here at Exploring the Con YouTube to get the knowledge of a true spiritual initiate and adept, because I am an ancestral scribe that has returned to reawaken this knowledge so we can find out where we're going. Because if we don't know where we come from and where we've been, how are we going to know where the fuck we're going, right? So, guys, that's why we're here. And I'm here to help you guys awaken this knowledge within us. We're just rediscovering it. It's been long known on this planet, right? That's why people are like posting, look what's underneath the pyramids, and look what's this, like they discovered it themselves. This shit was made thousands of years ago, right? You didn't discover nothing, right? You're just digging in the sand and rediscovering what somebody accomplished thousands of years ago. So I don't need the praise of any of this, but I just need a little recognition uh, when people start to take the information and say it like it was matter of fact. When people have been using the Ankh symbol for thousands of years, and it's been very popular even in our pop culture from like the 60s, 70s. We've been using it, even Aleister Crowley. How many the Ankh has been used all over. Never have you seen someone say it was the coronal loop. Now people are saying it like it was matter of fact, when only me and one other lady who said something similar, Judy King, the only other person I found that said something similar, and I found her because of my own discoveries when I was looking up to see if anybody said something different, similar, right? She talks about in her book how the Akh is the coronal loop, and that's the intelligence, and that's very similar to the Ankh because it's shown as the crooked bird with the crooked neck, and that's true. I came to that my conclusion on my own as well. She also gets into the bacteriophage and bacterial genetics being in ancient Egyptian writings. So very interesting, right? But if you go to another inscription, which is very similar to the pyramid texts with the pharaoh Unas, there's an inscription that was reconstructed from fragmentary plates found near Thuri, right? Let's see if I could pull these up. How do you spell Thuri? Thuri. Yeah, right here. So this is another plate that's very similar, found near Thuri, Siberia, Italy, right? And it's an Orphic gold table or plate, and there was 35 small pieces of gold foil found in ancient tombs across Greece and Rome. These tablets, inscribed in Greek text, date mainly to the 4th century BC. Golden plate to Petralia is one of them. Another one is this one that I'm about to talk about, and I don't know if there's a image of it. Yeah, so these are what this looks like. I'll just pull it up. Actually, get out of here. All right, so this is what the golden plate found near Thuri is talking about. It was very similar to Unas, the pharaoh Unas with the pyramid text. When they tell him to go to the north circumpolar stars, they're literally telling him to go to the gap in the magnetosphere, the North Pole, right? You got the North Pole and the South Pole, the biggest gaps in the magnetosphere, right? Big holes. And they're telling him to go right to the north circumpolar stars. This is why that North Pole is so important. And the celestial ship of the north to travel into the cosmic waters is the what is that? That's the Big Dipper, right? And the Big Dipper being the celestial ship of the north, scooping up the soul, traveling into the cosmic waters from the North Pole. All of that is very significant and deep knowledge. So when you go to the the fragmentary plates found near Thutri, this is what they say. I come from the pure. I'll read it to you guys for a second because you guys don't. Or you know what? I'll pull it up here just so you guys can see what it here. Maybe I could pull it up here for you guys. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in the book. I don't know where that other writing is on the internet, but I'll read it for you guys. It says, "I come from the pure." Let me just get the image for you so that you could see it while I'm talking. All right. So it says, "I come from the pure queen of those below." And Euclides and Eubulius, remember these are Greek colonies, and other gods and daemons. For I also avow that I am of your blessed race. and I have paid the penalty of deeds unrighteous. Whether it be that fate laid me low, or the gods immortal, or that I was stung with star flung thunderbolt, I have flown out of the sorrowful, weary circle. I have passed with swift feet to the diadem desired. I have sunk beneath the bosom of the mistress, the queen of the underworld, and now I come a suppliant to holy Persephonea, Persephone, but with an e at the end, Persephonea, that of her grace she send me to the seats of the hallowed. Happy and blessed one, thou shalt be God instead of mortal, and kid, I have fallen into milk. Incredible. Incredible. And a lot of those, you know, in Orpheus mysteries with the luminous sheen of the cypress, they show it with flowing streams of water coming literally from the sun, right? So, and they show coming from plasma light cones, right? So like when you guys see lotus flowers being used, a lot of times in ancient Egyptian writing, they're actually a symbolism and a metaphor for a plasma light cone. And these plasma light cones is what accelerates light and channels light throughout the universe, right? So you guys have seen plasma light cones before, right? They look like bells. They look like a lotus flower, and they're shown all over the symbolism, like right here. You guys see in the lower right here, these plasma light cones, right? Everywhere. I mean, they're everywhere in the symbolism. Let me show you. Um, Hold on a second. Let me pull something up for you guys. Boom, 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 boom. I gotta sign into I have nobody's has talked in the chat room lately. What's going on here? Did I blow your guys' mind yet, or are you guys not even following what I'm saying here? All right, so I hope you guys can follow I try to break things down as simple as possible. This is why I've spent years in plasma physics and years in mythology. So I can break it down in a very simple way for everybody. So people can understand. Now let me share screen again. What's up? What's up, Big D? Big Doug? So these plasma light cones that I'm talking about, people, you'll see them everywhere in symbolism. Everywhere. Almost every god and goddess, you'll see these cone structures with and the cypress tree. Look at right here you have look at she's holding the coronal loop. These are solar queens coming from the cypress tree. And look, streams of water flowing from the crooked necked bird. The crooked necked bird is the intelligence coming from the sun, the coronal loop coming from the arms of the sun. Literally, the cypress tree is the luminous sun, with also this tree also representing the magnetosphere a lot of times, right? And the interaction with the coronal mass ejection loops and the streams of light coming from the sun, right? So, but these plasma, look at right here, you got magnetic field lines twisting to form loops and rings, and look, plasma cones. These are described as lotus flowers. These are not really flowers, it's symbolism. This is plasma light cones everywhere. Look at this. They accelerate the light. This is all symbolism of twisting magnetic field lines that form the golden noose of the gods, the coronal loop, the coronal plasma loop, right? And you see these loops everywhere. These the symbolism of coronal mass ejection rings, and look at this plasma light cone right here, accelerating the light, accelerating the sound of the light. And you'll see them even in supernova explosions, gamma ray bursts, right? You have very famous ones that we have actually pictures of. Hold on. You got the Vela one. Let me show you guys the Vela one and the Crab Nebula pulsar, right? So this is look, this is what I'm talking about. Those lotus flowers, this is those cones. This is a good example of one that accelerates the sound of the light. Incredible, right? Incredible. You'll see these all over. Where's the yeah, these are you guys see what I'm talking about with the coronal mass ejection loop, right? This is the Ankh of Egypt. It's shown in all over. Look, this is Varuna. Varuna is the god of the solar wind, and he's carrying twisting magnetic field lines that form the coronal loop, right? This is the Pasha. And Pasha is described as a golden noose coming from the sun god that lassos souls and pulls them into the celestial waters, right? And you'll see Ganesha wields the Pasha, right? Look at the magnetic the magnetic loops. He wields the golden noose. That is the golden noose of the sun right there. And you'll see even in Zoroastrianism, right? Twisting magnetic field lines that connect to form solar rings, coronal rings. This is the Sun King right here. He's the sun god, Zoroaster, right? This is all plasma physics. And those light cones that I mentioned, they're plasma cones that accelerate the light, right? This is both the Vela pulsar and the Crab Nebula pulsar, and they're shown all over with goddesses, right? See, they accelerate the light. And this is very dynamic, very incredible, and it's all over ancient writings, ancient symbolism, and this Orphic, the Orphiate initiates, they were given direct instructions of where to travel. I mean, these are all solar wheels. This is about a solar storm coming from the sun and trampling over humans, right? All of this is incredible knowledge of the sun. Look at this, twisting magnetic field lines forming rings, coronal loops, and plasma cones, light cones. Look at this. Look at this is all light cones, plasma cones. Look, she's the goddess of the sun, carrying, she represents the sun. The arms of the sun is carrying the coronal loop, right? The best representation to show you, this is just another representation, my friends, of this, right? You got the Aten, the arms of the sun handing down the coronal loop. Look at that. The arms of the sun handing down the coronal loop. That's exactly what happens. And in these pictures, all this represents is these are the sun. This is a feminine aspect of the sun, this goddess. And the arm of the sun is carrying the coronal mass ejection loop. And what is this goddess the goddess of? She's the goddess of solar storms. I mean, it's, it's right there in front of us. It ain't a stretch, it's the truth. It's the origins. It's incredible. It's incredible. Same with these. When you guys go all of this one after another, you'll see various things that I've been talking about all have to do with deep knowledge about the sun, the crooked staff. This all has to do with coronal mass ejection loops. See the crooked staff here? That's also the crooked staff of the solar shepherds, right? This all has to do with the night side, the magnetotail, how it stretches out on the night side, and the divine information and transformations that happen on the night side, because that is a region, a gateway for souls to transform into. And this is all these Egyptian writings, the Book of Two Ways, the Book of Caverns, the Book of the Duat, the Book of the Dead. All those books are describing when the sun goes down and the travel during the 12 hours of the night, right? It's traveling. It's about when the solar wind stretches out the night side and the dynamic region to travel to on the night side. Now, in the next show, we're going to go into the pyramid texts, right? We're going to be breaking down the pyramid text and the pharaoh Unas and how they're giving the most advanced knowledge here, everybody. Incredible. This is incredible information. I don't think people realize uh, and how advanced these translations are. I'm literally talked about the magnetopause, the cold ions within the magnetopause that's being that's being shown. It's incredible. Don't forget to go to the Mystical Spiral store. This store is what our show, Space Water Podcast, is sponsored by. We have Gary Wayne on at least once, sometimes twice a month. You guys can donate right here in the super chat to support my research and my work. But you can also you go get 15% off orders on my website. I put new products up every day. We got some of the most incredible products for your mind, body, and soul, all ethically sourced and highest quality. Everything is so well. Specimens, of course, are just they come right from the earth, but the products that are made are all handmade by me and our team here, which consists of me and my family. So all handmade by an American small family business, and we have everything you want for your mind, body, and soul. We got free information, we have readings, we got crystals, we got copper tensors, we got handmade pendants, we got, and if you go to crystals, look, we got everything: crystal balls, bracelets, crystals, clusters, freeforms, palm stones, skulls, specimens, towers, wands, anything, copper harmonizers, handmade pendants, bracelets, all sorts of things, dude. The bracelets, we got some of the raw moo bracelets as well. These are amazing, incredible, once in a lifetime chance, and they come with a crystal package made of the most advanced energy. Look at guys, I don't think you guys see the advanced copper work on these. I'm gonna do better videos on these, but advanced, very thick, advanced copper. This is made from the raw. This is twisted copper. So there's uh, a few feet. I think it's like over 6 Ramu cubits twisted into this one, and each Ramu cubit is 29.18 inches. I have Ramu cubit also around the some of my tensors here too. This one was just made yesterday. Look at this, a gem of heavy gauge reticulated quartz copper coil. So cool. So cool. You guys can get 15% off your orders as well right here at the Mystical Spiral store. And some of these are just, I mean, all of these are just incredible. But we got specimens charged at the North Salem, New York Balance Rock. And this one is over 10 ounces, blue kyanite. We even got natural citrine, which is very hard to come by. Most people have heat treated citrine and it's being sold as natural citrine, but we got actual natural citrine, rare AAA grade towers. Love these. There's one right there. Let me know if you guys, and one of my favorite types of quartz. These are AAA grade reticulated quartz palm stones. Don't miss out, everybody. We have all you need when it comes to products for your mind, body, and soul to attune to the voice of God and the universe. Incredible. You can also go to my other YouTube channel, the Mystical Spiral Store. I mean, the Mystical, I think it's called TMS, Copper and Gemstones, the Mystical Spirals, my other YouTube channel. You can find it. We also do custom orders. So if you guys want even wholesale, I have some wholesale lots available from with different crystals as well. I do readings, and of course, we have a whole bunch of free information here up on the website for you guys. So you guys can go see all this information up on the website. Look at this, all this cool stuff up here. There's so much information on here, guys. It goes on for a long time. Look at all this stuff. Some cool stuff. Megalithic secrets, ancient civilizations. So much cool stuff you guys can get into. Check it out. The mysticalspiralstore.com. This has been episode 63 of the Space Water Podcast, where we are breaking down some of the most sacred writings and ancient tablets that people have debating for over for hundreds of years, right here, right on YouTube on the Space Water Podcast. Thank you all for joining me. My name is Castaldo, and Spiral.